It's been a while since I've done a tier list, alright? But let's just get straight to the point, so, because, I mean, I got, like, what, 50 plants. This including this, which will only, pretty much only appears in Vase Breaker, the backwards repeater here. Basically 49 plants to go over. So, might as well discuss them all in the quickest way possible, so, yeah. I'm gonna have some long explanations for these, so. The tiers we got are terrible, almost useless, sure, pretty good, and S tier, S plus, I guess. Terrible. You got Sea Shroom. Sea Shroom looks a lot, pretty much similar to Puff Shroom. Alright, they both cost 0. They both are kind of, there, but like, what's the difference? Like, one's in water, one's on ground, or ground, grass or land. There's a huge difference, though. There's a huge gap between these two here. First off, Sea Shroom, you cannot spam down, unlike Puff Shroom, where you first unlock Puff Shroom, you just spam them down like crazy in night levels. Sea Shroom, there is the complete opposite. You can't spam Sea Shroom because of the slow recharge. Makes it almost unplayable. It's an unplayable piece of garbage, man. It doesn't make sense. Alright. Is this useful? No, it's not even in the almost useless tier. This is just completely useless. There's no actual way I can be capable of dealing with this. Like, come on now. And the next up, we just have Gold Magnet. And, like, alright, if you have Gold Magnet, you may say, like, he's almost useless. Like, come on, he collects coins for you. But that's the only purpose of this thing. Alright, when you look like me, who has, like, what, 411k coins in the game, there's no point of this. There's no point of this. He's just useless. He's just a useless upgrade. Unless you want every planet in the game, well, I mean, hey, be my guess. It'd be my guess. All I'm saying is, this man just is useless, and, well, when you get almost all the things in the game, or, like, all the things in the game, there's no point of this guy anymore. Like, you bought everything from the shop, and you don't really need to get the coins there. Plus, if you're using a PlayStation 3 or the Xbox 360 version of the game, the coins automatically come to you. So I don't think there should be a big deal on that. I mean, unless you're just not clear eyesighted enough, but it should be. I'm not saying that to be rude, of course. Next up, we got almost useless. To get the idea, as you see all these plants here, yeah, no, they look like they could have been in this tier technically, but there's an extra tier added for these because I feel like, well, I mean, you got some plants that are like useful, but not always useful. So first up on the list, we got Gravebuster. Gravebuster is only useful at night, and here's why. It's his name. He busts graves to avoid the zombies from rising in there, even though graves still technically rise every single final wave. At least one, of course. But still, this man busts graves. But that's really the only thing you can do with this dude. I mean, of course, to get the Versus mode on Nintendo DS, yeah, on the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360, you can bust a grave so that the player 2 or player 1 on the zombie side won't be capable of generating brains, but then his recharge got nerfed to slow in that. But man, this I don't know. Gravebuster could have a lot more potential. Like, let's say, like, give Sun when he busts a grave or something like that. But nope, he just busts graves and that's it. Lily Pad. Lily Pad is basically just you planting a plant on top of another plant to add extra firepower to these extra 2 lanes added in the pool level and the fog levels. But that's all he's good for. I mean, if you put him in like roof, night or day, he's just a waste of slot. It's because, well, you can't place him down. He's only used for the pool and fog levels. Nothing else. Morally, it's just the water lanes, and there's no water, there's no point of the lily pad. Next up is Lantern. Lantern is useful in the fog to clear up the fog so you can see the zombies. coming in the upcoming lanes. But again, on the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360 version, you can just look at the leaves and assume that they're either coming in one of the two lanes and place mushrooms out there, and you work from there. Of course. But then, like, think of planting outside of that. There's no use. It could be terrible, to be fair. But it's still useful. He's still useful. But yeah. Cactus. Cactus is basically just pea shooter, but with a different projectile and design. But also being useful for, destroying zombies, the balloon zombies to be specific. In PvZ2, I mean, the plants could just, hit the balloon zombies, even though they are very buffed. I don't know why, but yeah. Although in this game, PvZ1, the original, balloon zombies cannot be touched by any player, really. Unless it was, something like Cherry Bomb or Jalapeno, or something explosive, or something like insta-kill plants, basically. They could pretty much get them. Even Ice Shroom can actually get them, and possibly Wintermelon. Anything with Splash can do it, or something that does damage to the entire board. Basically, Cactus is the only way to deal with. Was actually no, Cactus is the 2 out of 3 ways of dealing with balloon zombies. Just basically make it itself longer, and she's just gonna spit out some spikes to pop the balloons. I mean, it's very good logic. I mean, you're spitting some prickly spikes at the zombies. Does not even do a different amount of damage, or like what 1.5 damage than a pea shooter. Just does the same exact damage as a pea shooter. Nothing else. Next up, we got our 3 out of 3 plan of dealing with balloon zombies, which is Blover. And that's really the only thing Blover else is really good at. Like in PvZ2 though, Blover could actually be useful for blowing any type of zombies because there's multiple like jetpack zombies. But also you can combine that with Spring Beam. Like a zombie would get pushed forward or like whacked forward, and then you use Blover, and then those zombies get blown away. Great physics. But in this game, just balloon zombies, really. That's all that really is. Next will be our Cabbage Bolt. Cabbage Bolt is great on the roof, alright? This is unlike Cactus, this is more like an improved version of a pea shooter. Probably like a repeater, but if his 2 peas were combined to 1. The only problem is everything else, he actually is just a pea shooter normally, because, well, this man got a slow fire rating, and, well, there's nothing really else good about it. I mean, on the roof, when you first, like, go on the roof, your pea shooters or any other plane that shoots basically forward, maybe even Cactus, they hit the roof, not the actual zombies in the lane. So Cabbage Bolt is the newly found pea shooter to disrupt the way here, basically. But of course, that's outside of that. He's just useless, and well, nothing else is good about him besides the fact that he's just a pea shooter. Next up, we got Flower Pot. Flower Pot is also used on roof to basically plant plants on top of a plant like Lily Pad, except it's just used for on roof, so you can plant plants on the roof. Yeah. Also, this could be used as a defense plant. It costs 25 sun, so even in day, night, pool, and fog levels, you can just use it as like a defensive plant or like a distraction plant just to place down, and maybe add an extra layer of defense in case your pumpkin isn't recharged, or pumpkins isn't recharged. But that's basically it. Next up, we got Umbrella Leaf, which is basically just, man, don't need to put a counter on how many times I said that. But yeah, really just useful on, well, making sure zombies that are coming in the air, like steal plants or something like that, to be bounced upwards and be never seen again. And that's it. Alright, legit, that's all. Next we got Marigold. Now, if you want some coins, you place Marigold down in the safe spot and farm the coins from there as you're also beating the level. So it's useful there, and you can get some like upgrades, like a little walnut repair upgrade. You get some like more special plants like cob cannons and all that crap. But then Marigold isn't useful for anything anywhere else, which is why it's not okay. That's just almost useless. All you're collecting is coins, and once you got everything in the game, Marigold is useless. Just again a waste of slot. And that's kind of it. And lastly, wait, this is probably something that might throw some of y'all off, but it's pea shooter. That's actually almost useless. The first point we get in the beginning of the game. So in the beginning of the game, pea shooter is insanely good. I mean, that was our only attacking plant at first. And then we got all other plants such as potato mine and ice pea, and freaking repeater and star fruits and Gatling piece and chompers, repeaters, and fume shrooms. Like to get the idea, pea shooter is actually almost useless here. He's good early in the game, later on in the games, so at the levels at least. Yeah, he's basically fair, right? But then he's useless then, because then we got other plants that actually work very more well than pea shooter. I mean, look at all these plants above you. Like, you cannot tell me that Galaxy does not work so much better than pea shooter over here that shoots one pea at a time. Like, come on now. Not basically this entire tier. Basically, these plants being somewhat useful, but then just becomes complete garbage and useless in the games. But now we're on to our shirt tier, which is basically just okay. First up, we got Fume Shroom. Fume Shroom is pretty good, shoots through multiple zombies, but isn't just as strong. The multiple zombie thing fits when you have multiple in a rows. Plus, there's only 75 suns, so there shouldn't really be much of a problem, right? Yeah, there's not that much of a problem. There is one problem, though. It's the fact that armored zombies easily counter Fume Shroom. Like, a Buckethead can easily counter a Fume Shroom. All-Star can. I mean, I don't know. Again, multiple Fume Shrooms in a row makes Fume Shroom very OP, which is why it's on an okay tier, not just almost useless. Like, Fume Shroom can be used as a lot more potential than just using freaking screen door zombies against an illusion, because you can hit the multiple zombies in a row. So you can get like multiple cone heads in a row, multiple whole bolter zombies before you even jump over a plant. You probably even killed screen door before his, like, I don't know. Let's say screen door. I'm at newspaper actually. I'm at newspaper. Kill newspaper because newspaper goes out. Basically, the 75 sun and a fast charge and actually works well than a fast charge with 100. Right, minus 25 sun here. Alright. Next up, we got Scaredy Shroom. Scaredy Shroom would have been fantastic and a pretty good tier type of plant. But his name, Scaredy Shroom, he gets scared when a zombie gets near him, which makes him suck a little too hard. Now, like, this is, I mean, to make it fair, I mean, come on, let's be real here. I mean, a fast charge of 25 cost plant that legit shoots the same as a pea shooter. I mean, now that's just OP, alright? Let's be real here. And it's in night levels, too. That's an accomplishment. The only problem is when the board gets a little overwhelmed with a whole bunch of stuff like screen doors and bucket heads, then it's like they have a chance where the zombies get near the house and then gets near Scaredy Shroom, and then Scaredy Shroom gets scared and tries to take cover by hiding, and then this doesn't shoot anymore. It's more used as a extra like flower pot or something. Yeah, and well, Scaredy Shroom would have been useful. It's a good, like, I mean, come on. If this wasn't the case, then everyone would have been complaining Scaredy Shroom being too busted. I mean, he is still busted in, like, some of the later PvZ games, but, yeah. I guess this is why he never got added to PvZ 2, huh? Next up, we got Repeater. Alright, 3-peater is not bad. Shooting 3 Ps at once is actually fantastic, actually. Because that means you don't have to spam multiple Ps inside of a row or multiple plants inside of a row to kill just like one zombie in this lane and then one zombie in the other lane. You just place a 3-peater down and they both die in the exact same time in just one plant. The only problem about 3-peater though is its cost. I mean, 325 sun. Come on now. That is way too expensive just for a plane that only shoots in 3 lanes. It doesn't shoot in 3 Ps in a singular lane like repeater. It just shoots 3 different lanes. Like 1 P this lane, 1 P this lane, 1 P this lane. That's basically what that is. The cost just doesn't make sense. The recharge is fast, so that's kind of good. Alright, you can easily play your next 3-peater when you get easily enough sun for it. But 3-peater could have had a lot more potential, but it was like what? The cost in versus mode maybe like 200. It's still expensive, but it's still worth like 3-peater, who is 200 but shoots 2 Ps at once, making it a lot more better. I mean, imagine 3-peater being a lot higher cost than this already. That'd be suck. Next up, we got Tango Kill. Now, Tango Kill would technically be in like almost useless or maybe even terrible. But now to think about it, Tango Kill is actually pretty decent. Like, you can take out Dolphin Riders with this. You can take out Bucket Heads, that duck tube bucket heads and all that crap, all the tough zombies in a pool. You just bring them down and then they're instantly dead. This is a good insta kill plan, especially for it's just for the pool. Like, come on, that actually is pretty decent. And insta kill plan for the pool only. You don't have to waste cherry bomb or anything on that. Something actually pretty decent for once. Alright, next up we got Torchwood. Torchwood by himself is just terrible. Alright, let's be real here. But Torchwood is only actually meant to be played as basically a support character, sort of, but morally a team-up character. Or a plan. Like, you can, like, this man just works well with Ps. All these P shooters on the field over here, it just synergizes well with Torchwood. Because then their P's turn into fire. Well, except for a Snow P. This just turns back to a normal P. But, I mean, but Torchwood is supposed to be a synergized plan. Not an actual plan that does something really like that much on itself. But it's supposed to be a plan that, well, practically synergized plans. Okay, next up we got Tall Nut. Tall Nut is very counterable with pogos, pole bolting zombies, and then these zombies that try jumping over plants, or like going over the plants. He's now forced to eat the Tall Nut because he's way too tall for these zombies. Taller than the zombies. Maybe even taller than Dave, who knows. Although the thing about Tall Nut is he practically is just a normal walnut but with like extra defense and nothing else really. That's just that. Next up we got Split P. The Split P is entirely good. Like, it's, even though it's a normal P shooter on the front, the back is more like worth it because, you know, we got like a cone head, maybe a bucket head, but mostly the dicker zombies coming behind near lawn and all that crap. And then got a plants, and you just plan down a Split P, and voila, you get the goodness. The good thing about Split P though is that, like, repeater costs 200 and P shooter costs 100. In reality, this guy only costs 125. This man's insanely good. Either way, no. Alright, he could be like in a lower tier maybe, but he's still good either way. They're still good actually. They're two people. Magnetrum. Now Magnetrum is insanely good for like weak plants such as Pea Shooter and possibly Scaredy Shroom, you know, because you're taking away the metal off of the zombie. So screen doors, buckets, pogos, and anything metallic related. Maybe the All Stars hat, I think. Yeah, the All Stars hat did get taken away inside of PvZ 1. Basically. So anything metal object that a zombie has will be taken away and now get transferred into almost pretty much a normal round code. I mean, screen door is pretty much a normal round code, but just with a screen door to defend some. So is Buckethead and All Star. So Magnesium is pretty good. It's a really nice plan. I mean, 100 Sun is actually, it actually fits perfectly. I mean, come on, 50 Sun would have been making it a little too easy. All right, 100 Sun fits perfectly fine. Colonel Corn. Colonel Corn is very weak with just his little like kernels right here. But his butter was what makes it good. It's randomly generated, but sometimes you can just get butter for days. I mean, she can butter his zombie 4 times in a row, saving you a lot of time for doing stuff. Alright. That's what makes Colonel Corn insanely good. It's the butter. Also the fact that, well, we got an upgraded version of him, and, well, that is I know, oh, man. Not only is he obese, but he is a menace, alright? Next up, we got Coffee Bean. So Coffee Bean is useful to really... Actually, you know what? On second thought, you're gonna be the head here, alright? Listen, Coffee Bean... I changed my mind now. Coffee Bean actually is just almost useless now to think about it. I mean, all he's useful for is to buff your freaking, well, energize and wake up your mushrooms, and that's all it. Nothing else. For some reason, even while the mushroom got eaten and he didn't even get time to actually wake him up, he still floats there and just wakes nothing up, but I guess we can ignore that. That's all he's useful for, though. Next up, we got Garlic. Garlic is actually pretty good to control. So you can make like a row of spike weeds here, maybe chompers there, and some repeaters here, have garlics in 2 lanes, and then the zombies eat garlic and move to those lanes, and then, well, voila, and, well, they're dead that way. Of course, garlic can easily be eaten still. Kind of has the same as, like, I don't know, maybe let's say like a pea shooter or like pumpkin, something like that. It still has a let's say a lot of like defense, but it still stinks. Yeah, I don't know. But this garlic is good, alright? Just get the idea. Alright, but next up we are gonna have a Spike Rock. The Spike, alright, back to what I was saying, Spike Rock. Spike Rock is, he's good, alright. He damages zombies 2 times, and he has an insane, like, damage rate to, like, gargantuars. Like, they smash him multiple times to where you actually get, like, it's basically stunning the gargantuar in a way. That's kind of really it. I mean, he's pretty good. Again, he does 2 times the damage. He stuns gargantuars very well, actually. And you know that. You know what? Actually, yeah, I'm gonna just move him up here. You know, maybe he really is good, but Move right there. Seems like a lot of these are being changed pretty quickly, huh? Okay, where we left at? Alright, next up, Ice Pea. Or Snow Pea. Whatever one gets preferred for you. But Snow Pea it just slows down the zombies, really. I mean, it's pretty useful. Although, the sun cost is what makes it cost itself a tier down. Alright. It slows down zombies, but the sun costs are ridiculous. I mean, 175 sun just for a normal pea shooter that slows down zombies. That seems more necessary. The versus mode one has 150. I'm not sure if that's entirely necessary, but I mean it's more affordable unlike most things. I mean I can afford like 2 chompers and both of them like a minute. So 2 snow peas being affordable within a minute would be fine too, but gotta be expensive. I mean, it's a tower defense game, but also this game doesn't have a difficulty. It can be easy at some point. It can be hard at some point. Who knows? It was made for both casual and hardcore fans. Next up, we got Chomper. As we all know, in more modern games, Chomper is just annoying. But what about in PvZ1? Well, in PvZ1, he just eats a zombie. It doesn't even matter like how strong the zombie. He can legit just eat an all-star, a pogo. I mean, a buckethead. I mean, this man can just eat anybody, really. Aside from a Gargantuar, because the Gargantuar is too big. And Zomboni. And Godful Zombie. Oh, that's another thing I actually forgot to mention. And the basketballs, or the things that can be lobbed. Sorry, Umbrella Leaf. Never used you in such a long time. Nor have I seen catapults on in such a long time, either. But yeah, basically Chomper just instantly eats people. But why is he not like S plus or pretty good? It's the fact that Chomper just freaking like Chomper just takes forever to eat. That's the problem about him. He takes forever to swallow the zombie or whatever he eats. Like it just takes a while, and that doesn't look right. Alright, there's even a freaking like mini game or like a conveyor belt based around just Chompers, pumpkins, and flower pots, and basically and cherry bombs, basically. And you have to complete the challenge by Chompers. Chompers. Basically, what the heck was my voice? We're gonna ignore that. Alright, I said nothing. So basically, have Chompers eat all the zombies. Again, Chompers isn't seemingly good because no matter how strong the zombie is, he's gonna eat it, of course, unless it's a little too big for him to eat it. I mean, he can't chomp the Zomboni and Gargantuar and Catapult zombie, but I don't know. It's there. Lastly is a plant that only appears in Vasebreaker. Okay, this is I like to call this backwards repeater because it's just repeater but backwards. But this guy only appears in Vasebreaker, so he doesn't seem all too useful, but he's basically just a repeater but backwards. And that's all it is. Like but he isn't really good for anything else. If you plant him in the back lines of that near Crazy Dave's entrance or door and all that crap, he's more likely useless because there's no zombies right behind there, most likely, of course. If you plant it all the way in the front, there's a chance that, well, maybe this guy's gonna be more useless than ever. But he's more useful in the front lines than the back lines, so that's him. Next up, we have our pretty good tier. As speculated, they're pretty good. First up, we have Hypnoshroom. It seems weird to see Hypnoshroom be in the toppest tier because, I mean, all she really does is that when a zombie eats her, she makes sure the zombies fight back for us. And it doesn't seem all too helpful, but it's pretty decent enough. I mean, you get a freaking all-star on our side. We can actually manage to like get bucket heads on our side, some screen doors. Even Zombotanies get affected by Hypnoshroom somehow. You get a freaking Gatling Pea again. The only problem is on some versions of PvZ1, the Zombodanis actually still shoot forward and not well, they shoot backwards when hypnotized, and they're just shooting out of their heads now. But I mean, of course, except for walnut and squash and all that. But yeah, they're still technically plants now. That's basically there. But hypnoshroom is overall pretty good. Maybe underrated, honestly, but who knows? Next up is Squash. Squash could have been S tier if his recharge wasn't slow. This could have been maybe the best plan inside of PvC 1 if the recharge just didn't have to be so slow. Alright? But not so slow, but just, slow. 50 Sun is all needed for an insta-kill plan that just destroys anything in sight, really. A Gargantuar just gets destroyed with 2 of them. Zomoni's catapults, all-stars. This man is so good. He's legit just your backup plan, and he's probably like your evil mastermind genius. And it turns out he's not even an evil mastermind. He's actually a hero, and he's gonna help you save the day. But that's basically Squash for you. Oh, it could have been S tier, but the recharge had some improvements to work on. Next up is Spike Weed. Basically, Spike Weed and Spike Rock are the same thing, except Spike Rock is the upgraded version of Spike Weed, which does 2 times the damage and 2 times the armor. Spike Weed is still technically good. I mean, even though he kind of hits like 1 at a time, he's still insanely good because no zombie can eat them both. Of course, the Gargantuars can smash, but if you spam Spike Weed, I think it'd be good. Of course, it's still wasting Sun because he costs 100 Sun, but still worth it. Next up is Starfruit, and on second thought, actually, I'm gonna put him right there. We're gonna save him later. Pumpkin. So Pumpkin. So Pumpkin, I mean, he's pretty good. He helps defend our plans. He legit helps defend our plans. We can plant him on top of a plant, and we can plant a plant on top of him. Basically, it's Lily Pad and Flower Pot, but if Lily Pad and Flower Pot were plantable on top of a plant and be a well good defense. Pumpkin is just walnut, basically, but you can plant it over a plant. And that is what makes him good. So next up we got is Melon Pult. Melon Pult could have been S tier, but the slight problem about him is that he costs 300 Sun, and a guy that lobs melons and does an insane splash radius is something we could have possibly need but not need. I mean, like, come on, 300. And the recharge is fast too. Miss potential. Next up we got Walnut. Walnut is a great defense claim. We get him early on in the game, and he always helps us right through. This man, he suffered the fate, but it was worth it in the end when we beat the game. That's all. Gloomshroom. Gloomshroom could have been S tier if it wasn't really like just so easy to kill. I mean, it's not so easy to kill, of course, but like it can get bitten at least once from a zombie because it shoots in 8 different directions, but it shoots 2 times, but doesn't do that much damage unless we manage to get like, let's say 2 in the same row, but also have a walnut in front of it, or let's say 2 in the same row, but they both got pumpkins on them. Then Gloomshroom becomes entirely busted because now they're shooting in multiple rows and multiple times. And that was actually how Gloomshroom is actually pretty good. Not gonna lie. Don't actually have my curses on Walnut, by the way. I'm just gonna casually move on to Imitator. Imitator is actually quite nice and pretty good, and also could have been S tier, but imitating the same plant, sometimes it's not really worth it to imitate the same plant twice. It actually might end up making you waste a slot for no reason. I mean, like, imitating Flower Pot. Nah, I don't know. Might not be worth it, honestly. Now here's the thing that actually got a lot of missed opportunity to make it not be S tier though. Is the fact that we can't double the premium plans. If you don't know what a premium plan is, it's basically the upgraded version of the plan. Like Spike Rock goes on top of Spike Weed, Gloom Shroom goes on top of Fume Shroom, Golden Magnet goes on Magnet Shroom. Basically, the best opportunities that we can imitate that. It might be OP, of course, but it might not be so OP because survival. It's based on the RNG. The zombies gets based on RNGs. So, hey, we might be out of luck. The imitator is so good otherwise, but like, it's disappointing to realize that this man cannot imitate a premium plan at all. Next up is Potato Mine. Potato Mine actually, like, it sucks good. And we get it early on the game, and like later on the game, it's still good because this is the greatest early game plan yet. At least until we get introduced to another plan, but yep. But this man costs 25. Even though the recharge is slow, it's still worth it because he grows out and instantly kills a zombie. Alright, it's still worth it. Alright, it takes time for him to come out the ground, but again, it's still worth it because you got a early game plan that can instantly kill a zombie once it's out. Even a buckethead zombie gonna stand a chance. But of course, the zombies that do stand a chance are the tougher ones, and like Gargantuar, for example. Maybe Zamboni, maybe Catapult. The one I can also guarantee that's basically a normal zombie that can surpass it would be Pole Bolton Zombie because he can jump right over Potato Mine. But what's very interesting is that their zombie, despite him still being underground, Potato Mine still explodes while he's underground. And that is actually quite good. I mean, come on, Digger zombies can easily be countered. It's not just Sweat Pea now. But yeah, Potato Mine's entirely good. Maybe the best early game plan yet, but yeah. Next up, we got normal Repeater. After these two bootleg versions of Repeater, we finally got the real one. So this guy shoots two peas at once, costs 200, and basically shoots at a 2 times fire rate. And that's actually looking true too. This is overall good. Again, not the recharge actually. The sun cost just needs something like nerfing, and then we got ourselves a good, such good plan. But of course, to make it fair and balanced, we need to make sure it gets 200. Maybe it could have been like the versus mode that would cost 150, but he could have been too slow. Maybe his recharge could have been slow. But then that would still be bad though. Never mind. I guess it's fine until we can actually like get a good nerf that actually be fair and balanced. Maybe it could have been done. Spike Rock. Oh no, we already explained Spike Rock, so we're just gonna move on to S plus tier. Basically, the good and godliest plants yet. So let's start off with the bottom to the top over here. Actually, so we got Starfruit on this one. Starfruit. I moved Starfruit from pretty good to S plus, and here's why. See, Starfruit, okay, so for one, or like I guess you could say a couple, it might not be much, but if you get enough sun and keep on spamming these Starfruits like crazy, there's just gonna be a whole bunch of stars everywhere on your field. You're probably seeing some stars, and yet it does so much damage, more damage than anything else in this game. Okay, never mind. I'm lying. That's Doomshroom. Does so much damage to anything in the game, but multiple star fruits and a fast recharge, and it's pretty cheap. 125. Okay, cheap, but not pretty cheap, because you probably would have been like 75 or less. Pretty cheap. But this means 125, but still, it's still so good. Alright, spamming them down is the greatest option we could have ever asked for, alright? I want to know who at PopCop thought it was a good idea to just make sure it's at 5 directions, but didn't realize that you just spam them all down. Now the 5 directions basically up, left, right, down, left, down, right, basically, but still, you're seeing stars. Next up, we got this sun shroom. Now there is no chance, like without a doubt, of course the sun plants are going to be our best plants in the entire game, because that is how we produce some actual plants here. We basically collect the sun from these sun plants, and well, we got our entire infantry. Next up we have is Puff Shroom. This is the best, and I mean the best early game card in the entire game. You easily spam these guys down, they easily annihilate the zombies so much. There's zero cost, they're fast recharging. Oh boy, they're so powerful. Sadly, if you played PvZ 2 and go into the Dark Ages, you would know Puff Shroom God is still the same OP, greatest early game card you could have ever asked for. But the only nerf they actually ever added to Puff Shroom was that they disappear over time. But in PvZ 1, that we don't need to worry about that. Man, I don't know. Puff Shroom is just busted. Maybe even the best plan in the entire game. That is until we figure out the real best plan in the entire game. Next up is Cobb Cannon. This man is, despite his sun cost, this man is legit godlike. Alright, he sent a corn missile at a wave of zombies and explodes all of them in either a 3x3 or 4x4 area. And you know what? That's insanely good. Okay, like I said, the cost of this dude is 500 though. Does that seem worth it? And that's only in some case scenarios, really. And now it's survival. Endless, I know it's good. I mean, you want to get rid of the zombies as fast as possible and make sure they don't come to Crazy Dave's house. But zombies do keep coming and coming. Next up we got is Wintermelon. Hey, look at that, my second account name. Basically, Wintermelon, it's just melon pole, right? But with a snow effect. So why is it S here? Well, it's not just that. First off, it's a splash. It's a melon pole, guys, but it's splash, and you freezing zombies in a 3x3 area. Not only that, but you're also realizing that this is a 200 cost melon. You just need 500 sun for this, but like, you already have your melon poles down. You just place down the winter melons for like 200. These things are actually pretty cheaper than the actual melon. They're just minus 100, and that's what I like. The nerfitation right there. That could have, maybe if the normal melon was like that, winter melon was like that, maybe it could actually even be better plants. But nah. Honestly, I do still think that melon and winter melon are actually still good. Yeah. Next up we have is Cattail. Cattail's insanely good, even when you have multiple of them. Alright. Multiple cattails is more the firepower and more like, that. You shoot 2 spikes like cactus over here. Like 2 cactuses in a row, but even despite the 225 sun cost, that's actually good because it has aimbot. Like, the shots don't go in a straight line; they follow the nearest zombie to the house of claims upstairs, and well, sort of like that. You just go to random zombies and shoot them 2 times, like a repeater. Sadly, the projectiles are pretty slow, so gotta look there, but Cattail's pretty decent and well, pretty busted otherwise. Next up we have Twin Sunflower. No question, I mean 50 sun now, it's legit just 50 sun now. Okay, we're in PvZ 2 now, alright, but This is insanely good. Again, it's a sun plant. Sun plants are easily S tier now. Next up, we got is Gallon P. He's easily S tier too. Basically, put it on top of a repeater, and you get a guy that shoots 4 Ps in a singular lane. This easily takes care of bucket heads, pole bolters, cone heads, zombies instantly die within 1 second of a field. Like all-star, maybe, screen doors shit will fall off easily. Like, Gallon P is just so good, alright. 4 Ps at once, and with the Torchwood combo. Now that is busted, alright. That is busted. Next up, we actually have our Cherry Bomb. Alright, Cherry Bomb, it's a bomb that explodes in a 3x3 area. May not be entirely good, but, it's still worth it. It's an insta-kill plan. Insta-kill plans are still good. Like, look at all the insta-kill plans we have on the field. Like, they're mostly a high tier, alright? No, wait. They're all a high tier, actually, yeah. But next up, we have Jalapeno. He's basically Cherry Bomb, but he's burning the zombies, and he only goes to an entire lane. Not a 3x3 area, not a 4x4 area, not a 6x6 area. Just an entire lane. Now that is entirely good. Like, there's a lane of zombies that have like 3 all-stars in them, 2 bucket heads, and like 2 gargantuan warriors. You just throw down a jalapeno and you're all annihilated. Except for the 2 gargantuan warriors, but what do you get what I mean? Jalapeno is entirely good because he can, destroy zombies in a singular lane. Next up, we have is Sunflower. Maybe the best plant in the entire game, who knows? But I'm putting her first, because, why not? The heads up plant versus zombies right here. But yeah, Sunflower is a sun-producing plant, our first sun-producing plant. Might as well get the credit, put it first up here, right? Next up, we have our second to last plant on this tier list. Ice Shroom. Ice Shroom freezes all the zombies on the field and giving you an actual chance to sit down some of the fences and gather all the sun you can do to perform all these great plans. That is good. It is actually pretty great. That's all that's actually pretty needed for this. I'll give you that. And yeah, it's pretty good. I don't know what else I can give you there. Really, like, Ice Shroom is just good. Okay, the very slow recharge actually. It's worth it though. Like, 75 cost, and you places down every zombie's frozen on the field. Not every zombie, but every zombie that's frozen on the field, and then they get unfrozen, but they're slowed at the exact same time. It's so good. But let me introduce you to the real best plant of the Plant vs. Zombies one, Doom Shroom, or as I like to call it, Dumb Shroom. Doom Shroom just annihilates every zombie on the entire field. Even though he may miss a couple, he's still good. He just destroys every zombie in the entire field without a doubt. This is a godlike plant. I don't know who made this and why they made this podcast, but you know what? They did. And I don't feel bad for them. Very slow, no one cares. 125 sun, no one cares. This man's broken and sapped at people. But this is my PvZ 1 tier list. May not be the best quality one, but I haven't done a tier list video in a while. Feeling like I should do one. But this is my tier list. I have done some movements here and there, like Starford and S plus tier now, that stuff. But aside from that, I think this one's incredibly good. Next up, we're going to be doing some PvZ 1 zombies, and after that, I'm actually going to go back to making some Player vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2 tier lists, as I still got to finish most of the classes, actually. I'm probably going to add Torchwood and Hypergold in, like, one of the classes, but probably the last classes I have to go over. It's so basically, yeah, like the last one. Looks like the last one I did is Imp. I had to put a hover gun inside of there because that's the last zombie tier list I've done in Gun Warfare 2. Alright, yeah, Imp tier list on there too. But yeah, if you did like my tier list, you can leave a like. Leave a comment on what y'all think about this tier list and like what y'all prefer. Like, I know y'all have some agreements in some of this, so but then y'all would also like change some things here and there. Like Twin Sunflower may like also be in the sure tier. Like Millipole will probably actually be an S tier, and then Sunflower maybe pretty good or something like that. But yeah, let me know. This is a pretty long video for my standards, but worth it. By the way, this is pretty much done, recorded by 12:30 a.m. in the morning, which explains why if I sound tired, that happened. But yeah, see ya.